welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we'd do a 2-page Cinderella scrapbook layout. The paper that I'm using for today is actually from scrapbook.com. My main paper is actually from Cartabella. It's the Farmhouse Market and it's called Vintage Floral. Next from Echo Park, from the I Am Mom, it's called Mini Floral. For my first two pieces, the bottom part measures 11.5 by 2 inches and my top one measures 1 inch. Next, I do have a little strip of paper. It does measure 1/4 by 11.5, and also I do have a border. This is actually just a Googled image that I brought onto my silhouette and trays, and I just extended it, stretches it out to be 11.5. And I'll go ahead and glue it down with my zip drying. And I did ink all my edges with my Stampin' Up! Early Espresso. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. Next, I'll go ahead and back this on a piece of 12 by 12 craft cardstock paper. For my next page, I do have it ready. Before I forget, I did want to mention that the idea for this layout actually came from Pinterest. It's actually not my own. The only thing, the layout I saw on Pinterest was actually all digital, and I just decided to go ahead and kind of redo it, and just the majority of the files that I'm using for today, I had to go ahead and Google them and trace the files on my silhouette, but I'll let you know what's what. But again, the idea for this layout is actually not my own. To start off, I do have 3 photo mats. They do measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, and on my silhouette I did do internal offset. I'm not sure if you can tell this is actually Cinderella's shoe, her glass slippers, Next, I do have my title. It is from the Silhouette store. It measures 4 by 3 and 3/8. And actually, the title is just the title itself, the Once Upon a Time. And on my silhouette, I clicked on offset 2 times just to give it a little extra. Go ahead and place it right here. Also from the Silhouette store, I do have my clock. For my clock, it measures 3.5 by 3.5. And the same thing for this one is actually just a clock, and I just clicked on offset just to give it a little something extra. And I know it's reading 3 o'clock, it's not reading the midnight, just like it is in Cinderella's story, but I'm okay with that. I go ahead and put it up here. Next, I do have my castle. My castle measures 6 1/8 by 9 1/4. Now, this is actually just a Googled image that I brought onto my silhouette and trace. Let me tell you, to find a castle that I liked and I was able to trace it took me time. It took me more than 1 day searching. I kept trying to do different castles and I was just not able to trace them. That's why I think if you see my video tutorial on how I do that, I did mention that it takes time and patience to do it, because sometimes you're there searching for an image for a long time and you just kind of have to make it work. Now for this castle, it's actually just the top layer, like the blue layer. So I clicked on duplicate and release compound path in order to get my back layer, which is the white piece. And then on the top part, I also clicked, I duplicated again. And with my knife feature, I cut off the top parts just so I could change the color, make it gold. So again, by this point, I had already tried tracing for a while till I finally managed to get this one. I guess I could have used a different castle. I know Miss K Cuttables has Disney castles, but I wanted it to look kind of like the image I saw on Pinterest. And that one was a beautiful castle, but again, the layout was all digital. And I think it was a really long white castle. So I worked with what I had. Go ahead and bring it over here. Next, I do have my carriage. It does measure 2.5 by 6 inches. And for this piece, unfortunately I cannot remember where I got it from. I can't remember if it was a Googled image or from the Silhouette store. Sorry about that. I completed this layout about a month ago. And I remember for this one, I thought of the same thing as this one, you know, covering, maybe putting a color here in the bag, but I decided against it. This is how I wanted it to look like the silhouette. And I do have a little accessory. I think this is from Miss K Cuttables, and I think I already had this. It measures 2 3/4 by 3 inches, and I did pop it up on foam tape. Go ahead and bring it up here. Next, I do have my Cinderella. For Cinderella, she does measure 7 by 8 3/4. Now for her, she's actually a Googled image that I brought down to my silhouette and trace. I think for her, she was actually she wasn't difficult to trace, so that wasn't an issue at all. It was actually piecing her together. I know I had posted her on my Snapchat while I was doing gluing her, and I had mentioned that I was really nervous and scared to put her together. And I got a couple of replies saying, asking why I was nervous. And even though I've been paper piecing for a while, I still get really nervous piecing this type. Because you could probably put, I think this part I had glued it down, and once I started putting everything else, it didn't match up. And I had to take it off, and I kind of ripped it here on the side. So things like that worry me. I do like how she came out. She didn't come out perfect, but that's okay. Even though I have her pretty big, like I said, she's 7 by 8 3/4. Her eyes, I struggled so much with them. I cut them about 20 something times. I got up to the point where When I was cutting them, I duplicated a couple of them over and over and over so I could just pick the best ones out of the ones that cut. But because the eyes are so small, I kept cutting off. So the white part, I was able to put it on there on her eyes. But the little dot for her actual eyeball, I struggled so much, I ended up using Numidrops. So you probably won't be able to tell, and that's okay. And she is popped up on foam tape, and for her, I'll go ahead and bring her up here. And lastly, I do have two little birds. They do measure 2 1/4 by 2 3/8. They are popped up on foam tape. And this is also just a Google image that I brought into my Silhouette and trace. This is probably the easiest thing I was able to trace. I Googled Cinderella's bird, and this one popped up, and it's so cute. Go ahead and bring it here to the corners. Okay. Now I have actually so many pictures of my daughter with Cinderella at Disneyland because I had purchased from Etsy a Cinderella outfit, a Cinderella dress, but my daughter used to it's not this blue dress a Cinderella. It's actually her her maid dress. So it's the cutest thing. So she kind of outgrew it now, but last year she was still able to fit it, and she wore it all the time. And every time Cinderella would see her, it was just the cutest thing. And my daughter would be so proud showing her dress, because you know every time it's a different Cinderella, a person who's portraying her. So my daughter would get a lot of compliments, and people would always ask me if I made it, but I would tell them it was from Etsy. And when I was going through my pictures, I have this I had pictures of, I think it was early last year, we went to go see Cinderella, and Cinderella was asking my daughter questions, but as some of you might know, my daughter struggles to talk. She does have autism, and so she can't really communicate well. Oh, I put it on here. She can't really communicate that well. So so Cinderella was asking my daughter questions, and my daughter replies, but she couldn't understand them. So she looked at me, and I kind of gave her the signal, and thank God Cinderella understood. So instead, Cinderella asked my daughter if she wanted to dance with her, and we have pictures of my daughter and her holding hands and kind of dancing. And also my daughter had asked if she pointed at her feet, asking if she could see her shoes, and Cinderella was able to show her glass slippers. And it's just very, stuff like that, I have to scrapbook. I just need more time. But it's the cutest thing ever. And also here on her, I guess it's part of her headband, I did add a little bling. And there you have it. This is my 2-page Cinderella scrapbook layout. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye for now.